Hey guys, it's Alyssa, the hopeless romantic redhead.
And I'm Danielle, the whodunit detective.
And welcome to Main Character Syndrome. If you feel like you are the main character in your life, you are in the right place. All right, guys, we are in the final episode, episode 4 of our deep dive into book 4 of the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, Queen of Shadows. It has been a wild ride. There have been so many things happening, so many secrets revealed, and we have so many more, Danielle.
Yeah, we really get to see Aelin kind of on almost the winning side, I would say, where we've seen her basically one step ahead of everyone else so far. And now we're getting into the last part of the book. And so with that, there'll be some new surprises revealed. And we were just left with a big one, and that is that Manon just revealed to Aelin through a message she left in the city basically saying that Dorian is still inside. He's still savable. And so now Aelin has to completely 180 their plans. And instead of killing Dorian, now they have to save him.
Yes, and it goes without saying this episode is going to have spoilers for books 1, 2, 3, 4, and the prequel Assassin's Blade. So if you have not read those, we're sorry about the spoiler that we just said, but you should probably be prepared at this point in time. Sorry, not sorry. All right, let's get into episode 3. It's going to be chapters 67 to 89. And it is D-Day. It is the time to get magic back and destroy those towers. So we start off with chapter 67.
Yeah,
And
and
Danielle?
in chapter 67, we have Aelin, we have Chaol, Rowan, and Adian, and they're moving the Hellfire to the sewers. And short chapter. That's about it.
Yeah. My favorite quote from this also coincides with something from Throne of Glass, which Elena told Aelin, which she was Selena at the time. She said, "You could rattle the stars." And here, Aelin says, as kind of like a battle speech, she goes, "Let's go rattle the stars." I just
Yeah,
love it.
it was definitely like setting the stage for battle, and you're like hyped up.
Yeah. And she's also accepted who she is now that Elena kind of told her who she was. And it's kind of like a full circle moment.
For sure.
All right, chapter 68. Lysandra is in her carriage on her way to freedom with Evangeline. Then we skip to Rowan and Adian, who are carrying vats of hellfire bombs to the sewers and into the castle catacombs carefully. This is kind of like a little status report of like where everybody's at. Then we have Chaol, who is in chains as he and Aelin make their way to the castle entrance. Once they reach the fence, they see something extremely disturbing. They see corpses hanging from this fence, and it turns out that 16 of Chaol's closest men and loyal guards, including Ress and Brello, are hanging from this fence, and they're in bad shape. Like they've definitely been tortured.
Mhm.
Remember some of those people that Dorian slash the Vogue Prince was torturing and feeding on the fear?
Yeah.
I have a feeling it was them.
It's never directly said, but we can basically infer
Yeah,
pretty
they were torturing
accurately
somebody.
that it's them.
Oh, this is awful. It's a message from the king to Chaol for his betrayal. Of course, Chaol thinks it's all his fault, and this kind of spurs him to make a change in his and Aelin's plans. Aelin is sad by these plans, wiping tears away as she says, quote, "I'll make it count." I sense a sacrifice here. That's kind of the vibe that I get from that.
Hmm.
Chaol reflects on the irony of how less than a year ago he brought Aelin to the castle in chains as Selena Sardathian. Now the tables have turned. They reach the gates, and Aelin tells the guards to tell the king his champion has returned and brought him one hell of a prize.
Chapter 69, Selena walks into the castle with Chaol like he's her prisoner. Selena was early for her return from Wendelin and is seen as still being loyal to the king. So they let her in and they don't take her weapons away. She and Chaol both have word marks written on their skin. They meet with Dorian and the king. And she says that the enemies in Wendelin that she was set to kill are dead. And she gives him two rings of the king and prince of Wendelin. Lysandra's jeweler had them made. The king then calls her Aelin, and he knows she's lying.
I
Mic
need to
drop.
meet this jeweler.
Yeah, right?
Okay, chapter 70. In the catacombs, Rowan and Adian reach the Wordstone clock tower, and because they're Fae, they feel a lot worse than when Aelin felt just a headache when she was human. It feels so wrong to them, and their heads are pounding, their noses and ears start to bleed. They find a spot to put the vats and are unwinding the fuse when Rowan feels a drip, and it's not blood. It is like saliva coming from the mouth of a word hound. Lorcan did not kill all the creatures that they had hoped and that he said he did. He just gave them Rowan's scent. Back at the castle, Aelin Ash River Galathinius faces the king of Otterlin, saying that she's been called many names. Selena, Lillian, Aelin, but she doesn't care what he calls her. We find out the king looked through Dorian's memories and saw that Aelin rescued him and saw her face. Aelin, trying to buy time, is so nonchalant on the outside, she's just like, yeah, whatever. The king tells Chaol to stop pretending to be bound by the shackles, and Chaol joins them. The king then orders his guards to leave the room. Interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
The king reflects that he had the Queen of Terrasen so close to execution and had no idea the prize that he really had sentenced to Endovier. Aelin draws a sword of Orinth, still trying to buy time. She talks about the keys. Where are the word keys? Chaol tries to reach human Dorian in the meantime, but no luck. The king demonstrates the power of the keys on Dorian, torturing him so that Aelin will tell him the location of the third word key because he feels like she has learned where it is. And she's been like, you wouldn't dare. This is your heir. And he basically is like, I have two sons. So he doesn't care. Aelin brings out the Eye of Elena, which is the thing that can wake Erewhon, saying it's only fair that she destroys him because he destroyed her family. The king says she just made the biggest mistake of her life. The clock strikes noon, the bells are chiming, which we as the reader assume that is like the time that everything was supposed to happen, but the clock tower is still standing.
So in chapter 71, we're jumping back to Rowan and Adian fighting the Word Hounds. They were supposed to have the tower down at noon, but they have missed that mark. We learn that the Eye of Elena is the key to Erewhon's tomb. The king knows that she has the other word key. Dorian is then sent to chase after Aelin. She starts to like run away, trying to get Dorian away, and he's chasing after her, and Chaos stays and he faces off with the king. Dorian is chasing her and shooting ice around to try and trap her. The glass breaks, and of the glass castle, of course, and she jumps through a broken window.
Meanwhile, Aelin has glass shards all over her body, so this is
Mhm.
not good for her. 72. Aelin lands on the open glass bridge, hurting herself on impact. Dorian follows her through the window. Aelin runs to the door at the end of the bridge and slams it behind her, running up the stairs to another thinner bridge at the top. Chaol is left to face the king alone, a sacrifice he discussed with Aelin so she could get Dorian alone and try to save him. He reveals the Eye of Elena that Aelin showed the king was fake. Again, Lysandra's jeweler seems pretty cool.
Mhm.
The king is hitting Chaol with his power, and the word marks are weakening with each hit. Remember the word marks that he painted on his skin? Finally, he welcomes the death blow for Dorian, for his men, for Sorsha with no regrets. He was able to buy Aelin time, and he's okay with that. Oh,
Redemption.
this was so hard to read.
Yeah. He started to redeem himself. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm still kind of done with you. But at least I'm like, when I read this chapter, I was like, at least you went out swinging. At
Yeah.
least you went out redeeming yourself.
I still don't
So,
like him as a man, if you
yeah,
will.
no, no. Chapter 73, we're back into Dorian's point of view, and all he's thinking about is how bad he wants to kill Aelin.
Yeah, that's basically the chapter.
That's it.
It's like 7 lines of I just want to kill her.
Yeah.
Chapter 74. This is a long one. Aelin is trapped between Dorian and a door covered in ice that she can't open, so she is just got nowhere to go. She tries to get to him, mentioning Kaol and Sorsha, but no response. She struggles against him, and he finally stabs her in the side with a dagger made of ice. So, bad news bears. Back in the catacombs, Rowan and Adian are struggling in their fight against wordhounds. One has Rowan's leg in his jaws and breaks it. Lorcan then shows up and saves the day just as the beast was going for Rowan's arm next. Now they can ignite the bombs because they've got an extra person and they're finally fighting back. And they also had no time to lose because Rowan feels a phantom pain in his side that is not his and realizes that something is very wrong with Aelin. It brings him to his knees. Their bond is splintering, and that means that she's dying. I want to point this out because I read ACOTAR, and this is something that I want to pay attention to in future books because he is feeling her pain.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Karanon bond or is that something else? Something to think about.
Yeah.
So obviously things are not good for Aelin and Rowan is distraught. And Lorcan's like, we got to get out of here. So they run out of the tunnels and they hide in an alcove just in time as the bombs go off and the towers come down as the world shakes. Rowan feels magic come back, and then when the dust clears, 100 Volg soldiers are waiting for them, armed and smiling. That's not creepy at all.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Manon and Astrid are on their way back to Morath from Rifthold when Manon wrote that nice little message for Aelin. When they feel the magic again, making Manon feel unstoppable and invincible. Back at Morath, the keep is in chaos. Magic is free, and a certain beast has been let loose. A beast who purrs at the Shadowfire. We can only assume it's Kaltane. Back at the castle, Aelin has collapsed onto the bridge. She's dying. She's pleading with Dorian to remember the people that he loves. Remember Sorsha, remember Kaol, remember me. She feels the castle shake from the explosion at the tower, and then the rush of magic hits her like a sweet wind. She then heals herself and tells Dorian that they get to come back from their loss and that she came back for him. She puts Athral's gold ring on Dorian's finger, and he's struggling internally with the demon to come back. And the demon's like, take the ring off, take the ring off. So we know it's working. She and Dorian then fight with magic, and Aelin is strengthened by this light at the apex of the solstice, which she and Kaol chose that specific spot and that specific bridge to enhance her powers. So they're both going head to head. She's still fighting this Volg Prince with magic now.
Then to chapter 75, we're back in Dorian's point of view. Aelin has healed herself from the stab wound. The ring is working, and Aelin's still trying to get him to remember her, to draw Dorian out. And finally, Dorian smashes down the demon. He's back. He remembers her. It's very sweet. And he's like, you came back for me. And it was like, oh, yes. Rowan and Lorcan are fighting with Adian against the Volg, and it seems like they are going to die. It's not looking good as more soldiers continue to come. Rowan's lost too much blood, and his powers aren't working well because he's lost so much blood. Adian says, it's been an honor, Prince, and then steps in front of him as like a, yeah, we're gonna die, but I'm gonna try to protect you first, like as an honor, you know? And so finally, as this happens, Lysandra arrives as a ghost leopard because she's a shapeshifter. And she rips all of these Volg to shreds. She's like literally chowing down. Like it's dinner time and she hasn't eaten in weeks. And she ends up saving them. She then runs to the castle and Nezrin then saves Lysandra. As Lysandra is this ghost leopard charging to the castle, she's getting to the gates, and people are there with drawn arrows, and they shoot one at Lysandra. And she's like, I'm gonna take this. Like, they saved me. I don't care. I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna die trying to save Aelin. And then the arrows shot away by another arrow, and it was Nezrin.
Yeah, I also want to point out, remember when Rowan basically outed Lysandra as a shapeshifter
Hmm.
and Aelin told her about ghost leopards and she's like, "Ooh, I think I might like that." That is why she took that form.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's a fun time. All right, chapter 76. Aelin is near burnout after fighting with Dorian because she's used too much of her power in such little time. She's still trying to reach Dorian inside. The king shows up, revealing that he killed Chaol and notices the ring on Dorian's finger. And he stiffens at this. He's disturbed and he tells Aelin, "What have you done?" Aelin keeps repeating that he killed Chaol, prompting the king to gloat. Yes, I killed him. He had no chance. This reaches Dorian and he asks if the king really killed his friend. Like, what did you say? And the king then throws a wave of darkness at Aelin, but Dorian meets it with his ice before it could strike. Dorian is back in his body. He remembers his name. He remembers Aelin and that she came back for him. And then he snaps the collar from his neck. This is such a powerful moment.
Yeah, so he'd been kind of going back and forth still, was having conversations with Aelin, and then now finally it's like the collar's gone. And so in chapter 77, it falls off of him. The king is there, and he's like, neither of you are leaving. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And then Dorian and Aelin link hands and combine magic. They push back the king's darkness with light.
I have to
And
say, this sounds like a Karanan bond.
it does. That's what I thought. So I was like,
Can you have two?
I don't know.
Or is that her Karanam?
But Rowan is her mate.
I don't know.
Oh man.
I
Okay.
couldn't tell you,
Yeah.
but
But yeah,
it's us. I mean, that seems like a Karanan bond to me.
yeah, it did.
And unless you
Uh,
can have two, I mean, I don't know.
yeah. And so they're pushing back darkness with their combined magic. Meanwhile, jumping back to the sewers, more soldiers are entering the sewer. And Rowan's like, you guys got this. He patches himself up and he flies to the castle. He's in his eagle form. And he sees the battle with the king and says, Aelin and Dorian are infinite. And I just wanted to say this because this phrase was used a lot to describe their magic together. It was like described multiple times as being infinite, that they were infinite.
Mhm.
And then the king falls and speaks in a different voice, saying, my boy, my boy, my boy. And then says, have you come to rescue me, Aelin Galathinius?
This is a mic drop moment.
Yeah, I was like, what the fudge cracker?
We're all like, what just happened? And Aylin's the same. Chapter 78. Aylin is stunned. Dorian isn't falling for it, saying it's another one of the king's lies. But Aylin asks the king, "Who are you?" She notices that his black ring has been shattered. And the king now looks more soft and human, and he says everything that he did was to keep Dorian safe from him, whoever him is. We find the king found the key and showed it to Duke Parrington years ago when they were a little younger. Duke Parrington then showed him the crypt and he opened it with the key. So they were in Morath and they found Erewhon's crypt and they opened it. Erewhon took Parrington's body and his minion took the king's. The king is sobbing now. This means Erewhon is free and in the Duke's body, which neither him or Aelin knew of the other's existence. He made Aelin kneel when she first came back from Endovier. She lived in the same building as him. Like they were staying in the same space, and
Mm-hmm.
neither of them knew of the other.
Yeah.
The king then says she could have sealed him back in with the Eye of Elena, realizing that when he saw the eye and he was like, "You just made the biggest mistake," he inside saw it as a tool of salvation instead of destruction. The king then says Erewhon is able to stifle his abilities and scent from others and hide in plain sight without being detected. He hates the Galathinius line and the Havliard families, which is why he targeted them.
But I will say that when he does stifle his abilities, they also said when he does that, though, it makes it harder for him to then identify other things like, Aelin Galathynius.
Exactly.
He can't sniff her out.
Yeah, so I mean, it stifles his own abilities as well.
Hmm.
So he knew no idea that Aelin was Aelin.
Yeah.
So Aelin then points out that the king slaughtered millions, including her family, and the king says he tried to stop it. Then he ordered the towers to be built to stifle magic, since Aelin could be found by sensing her magic and Fey heritage, and also to protect Dorian, who had magic in his system. So he wouldn't be sought out and basically used by the Volg. The king's plans ended up failing to protect Dorian since he could still use magic. Aelin again points out that he came to her home and murdered her family. And the king then goes, "I came so you could burn it out of me," basically wanting her to kill him with her fire. And now he wants to do it, her to do it now. He also reveals that Kale is alive, mic drop, broken, but alive. He did not make that killing blow because there was some kind of light around him. Dorian has had enough, thinking the king is lying, and brings the glass castle crashing down. The entire thing.
Yeah. Castle gone. This chapter, I was like, holy cow. One, he built the towers to protect his son, and hide his magic. Okay, wait, you're trying to be good. But I'm also like, gosh, I don't know if I trust him. And I don't know that we'll ever get the answer whether that was really him, because then in Sarah J. Maas fashion, she just slides this sentence in here casually where Aelin remembers Nehemia saying, "The wicked will tell us anything." And
Right.
I was like,
Yes.
"Mm,
So this chapter revealed a lot. Number one, Erewhon is alive. Number two, he is Duke Parrington. Duke Parrington is the
Erewhon."
mastermind of all of this, and we find out it's actually this ancient evil king, Erewhon. Number three, the king has been under this kind of control for years. And I actually kind of believe it because from the rigidness of him as the king and like the dead emotion in his eyes to this sobbing mess of a soft human being,
Mm-hmm.
that is hard to fake.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree, but I was like, Sarah, why'd you have to put that in there?
Oh, she always wants to put doubt in your mind.
The wicked will tell us anything to, um, and this sentence goes on just a little bit more, but I was like, mm, mm.
She has a point. I mean, it would be genius. That would be a genius lie.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, really, regardless, this is like the point in like horror movies where you're like, you have to kill him. It's like, there's still some doubt. You have to kill him. So, and then in the horror movies, they never do, and he ends up coming back and killing them. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I feel like Aelin wouldn't have done it. She would have seen the human inside, and Dorian's just had it. He's
no,
like, I'm
Dorian's
done.
like, no.
You have
And
done
then
so much bad.
in chapter 79, Dorian makes the tower break. Aelin falls from the tower and she lands softly thanks to a wind, which we can guess was Rowan. And the glass castle is completely gone. The king is dead. Dorian killed him. Dorian and Chaol are lying next to her, passed out on the ground. And we learn that she had put the eye of Elena, the real one, in Chaol's pocket before she ran out of there to save him. And he didn't know that. Aelin then announces to a large crowd that the king is dead. She said that she killed him and that Dorian is alive and that she is the queen of Terrasen, that she is Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, the queen of Terrasen. And she says that the city of Rifthold is hers, but it's only hers until King Dorian is ready, that he's in mourning, but when he's ready, it is his. And she says that she declares that all slaves are free, and if you are caught selling even one slave, you are dead.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Go off, queen. All right, chapter 80. Back with the lead in the dungeon in Morath, Vernon visits and wants to see what she's capable of now that magic is back, wanting her to breed with the Volk. Ugh. Manon returns to Morath and she realizes that Elide is missing, and then she
Oh,
goes to the 13 for help.
it's been some time, girlfriend. Yeah, after the king died, and like after that, like I am Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, like the king is dead. You would think that like the book would end there.
Oh, you would think.
Oh, no,
No.
no, no. Things are
Yep.
about to get wild.
Yep.
In chapter 81, Alide is being washed by women against her will. They're like primming her up, getting her looking good for this. And they say that the prince is waiting for her in the catacombs. The keep knows that Aelin Ashriver has now killed the king, and there is absolute chaos going on. A voice in Manon's mind is telling her that she needs to go faster and run faster to save Alide. Manon then arrives and rescues Alide. Her and Astrid kill all of the guards there, and as they're trying to run Alide out, Kaltain shows up.
This is a badass chapter coming up. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Chapter 82. Kaltain appears and she's like, switch clothes with me. So she switches clothes with the lead because apparently they look alike and she's going to go in a lead's stead. Kaltain then takes a dagger to her arm, cutting out a dark stone that she wraps in cloth and gives to Elide. Listen to this. She tells her to give it only to Selena Sardothian and to tell her that it's a key that opens any door. She also says, tell her to remember her promise to me, to punish them all. When she asks why, tell her I said that they would not let me bring the cloak she gave me, but I kept a piece of it, to remember the promise she made, to remember to repay her for a warm cloak in a cold dungeon. Kaltain refuses to go with the lead, and Manon saying she has no interest in living after what they did to her and what they did to her body, and her body couldn't survive without the power of the key, but she will enjoy this. We're going to find out what this is. After they leave, Kaltain is brought to the Volg for breeding under the guise that she is a lead. They are none the wiser. And she unleashes hell onto Morath with her shadow fire. She burns it and herself completely to ash. Manon and Elide escape with the 13 and they get on their wyverns and they're up in the air just in time for this massive explosion. And then they look back and they see that a third of Morath is gone.
Hell yeah, Kaltain.
This was so powerful because she's like, tell her that she's going to repay her for a warm cloak in a cold dungeon. Like this
Yeah.
moment that Selena had where she gave Kaltain her cloak in the dungeon. Kaltain remembered that, kept a piece of it.
Hmm.
And now she's giving Selena what we assume is a word key.
Yeah. Yeah, she had the word key inside of her, which is crazy. Like
Yeah.
they literally, I mean, it was mentioned several times about a large scar on her arm.
Mhm.
And they cut open her arm and put the word key inside of her and sewed her up. I was like, ooh, crazy. And then like she's killing them all. Like she's it's just crazy. So like
And justice is served, though. Like,
she like, oh no, it's great. Like it's very, yeah, justice is served. She killed the yellow leg witches, who were basically like the ones who were sacrificed to make babies, and she killed all of those demon babies with them. But then in the end, she sacrifices herself.
yeah, they killed the witches, and good because the witches were just miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, she killed herself as well because she was tired of living because of
Mm-hmm.
everything that they did to her. I don't blame her. That girl was through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chapter 83. Aelin has been sleeping for 3 days. Lorcan shows up to the castle and Lysandra vomits like Vogue all over him, which
This
was
is
really
the
funny.
best thing. She like indulges herself too much of the
Yeah.
Vogue when she just had that feeding frenzy as the ghost leopard and
Yeah.
just unleashes this on Lorcan, and he deserves it.
Yeah, well, Rowan says he deserved that after sending them into the sewers with the word hounds. Lorcan says that he helped them because he saw Gavriel's son went into the sewers with him. So he knows that Gavriel has a son and that it is Adian, which I think is bad.
Mhm.
And then Lorcan's like, this isn't over. Like, this war, it's not over. Then we jump to Rowan telling Aelin that he thinks he's searched the world for so long, searching just for her. And they end up kissing again. And then while they're kissing, Adian walks into the room in on them, and Rowan like kicks him out with the wind. And we learn that the gold ring is now gone from Dorian, that Lorcan had knocked Aelin out when she fell from the castle, and he took the ring back from Dorian. So now he thinks that he has the ring and the word key.
Yeah. Little does he know, he does not have the word key, but we'll figure out when he finds that out. Also, I just love Rowan and Aelin. They're just
Hmm.
one of my favorites because they didn't do like a casual enemies to lovers where they were just like, I don't know, they they really despised each other
Hmm.
and they healed together. It wasn't just like a an attraction that was like, oh wait, you're kind of hot. It was like they healed and they both had these losses. Rowan lost her mate, Aelin lost Sam, and they're healing together, which makes this bond so strong and their love just so beautiful. I just love it.
Yeah.
Hopeless romantic. Can you blame me? Okay. 84. Dorian Haviliard wakes up as the king of Otterlin. Aelin shows up and they have a deep chat, and he asks her if he deserves to live after what he's done. She says only he can answer that. He then asks her if she believes the old king, and when he's, said all that nonsense about being taken over by the Erewhon's minion, and she says she doesn't know what to believe. He finally comes to terms with Sorsha's death here, also saying she died. We don't know who she is, but we can only assume it's Sorsha. Kale then wakes up and Dorian is there, and they have a moment. Kale is like bawling like a baby. And it's revealed that the old king broke his spine in multiple places, and he is paralyzed from the waist down, he being Kale. The healers at the castle were unable to heal him, and Kale has to go to the Torre Chesme because they cannot heal him. Where did we hear this before? Assassin's Blade.
Irene.
Torre Chesme is where the big smart healers are, kind of like brain surgeons today, right? The
Or eye
smartest, best
surgeons.
healers or eye surgeons. Sorry, don't mean to stereotype. Um, but who else went to the Torre Chesme?
Irene.
Irene. So we know that Tower of Dawn is Kale's story. Are we going to meet Irene there?
Oh my
I don't know.
gosh. I swear if he jumps to another woman, oh, he's gonna get around.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, so he's gonna have to go to the Torre Chesme because only those healers can heal him. Nezrin will go with him, and she comes in the room and they have a cute little moment together. Nezrin is now the temporary captain of the guard with Kale as the king, Dorian's hand. So Dorian's like, get better. I need you to help me run this kingdom.
And if you remember, I told you earlier on to remember what Chaol said to Nezrin before he went to the castle, where he's like, I promise I'm going to walk out. And then there's like a little joke where he's like, so obviously I didn't walk out of the castle because I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, he kind of broke his promise. So
I was like, oh, that's some dark, funny humor, Sarah J. Maas. That's really good.
it's
Like,
great. I thought it was fun.
yeah, I thought it was funny. Chapter 85, Lead and the Witches, they're flying away from Morath. Manon is leaving a lead, though, kind of dropping her off in the middle of the woods and tells her she needs to go to Terrasen, that her queen is alive and that she has just killed the king. And the witches are then going to go back to Morath and act like they weren't there for all of this chaos and that it's kind of lucky that they're alive. And Alide is going to go find Selena Sardathian, who she does not know is Aelin Galathynius, to give her what Kaltain said to. Manon says that when war comes, she hopes to not see Alide, which I feel like when she said that, that's like foreshadowing. Of course, somehow Alide's going to have a main part in this war.
I also foreshadowed something where because she doesn't know that Selena is Aelin, that may cause some problems. Um, just speculating, but
Mhm.
yeah. It's also funny that Manon just drops her in the middle of the forest and it's
Yeah,
like,
she's like,
walk to Terrasen, bitch.
yeah, she's like, I know I'm flying on a wyvern, but good luck.
You don't have a map. You don't know where you're going. Just go north.
Yeah, you've had like this limp, like you're a bit injured. I don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Manon freed Alide in her shackles, and Alide is it's almost like a weight fell off of her. But she
Mhm.
also still has this limp. She still has this gimp foot. So it's gonna be a little bit harder for her to walk around. So we'll see. I believe Sarah J. Maas will take us along on her journey in the next book. So I'm excited to see what happens after that. Chapter 86. Aelin is packing for Terrasen with Lysandra. Aelin gifts Lysandra and Evangeline land that once belonged to the Alsbrooks in Terrasen, with Lysandra as the lady and Evangeline as the heir. It's also riddled with ghost leopards, which she thought was fitting and that Lysandra wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
They all then sit down for dinner, and Dorian has issued a decree that frees all kingdoms from his father's rule that he conquered,
Yes.
which is a big
Chapter
deal.
87, once again, we reiterate that a third of Morath has died. But unfortunately, Parrington and Vernon are still alive. I'm like, dang, Kaltain, come on. You
And
couldn't
we knew
have.
Parrington wouldn't perish. That's too
Yeah.
early in the
Yeah.
series.
But their plans are now delayed for several months. The Duke, though, wants to continue with these plans for war and says Manon's grandmother will be there in 2 weeks. The Duke needs another source for his shadow fire, and he is still building the witch towers. Manon then threatens Vernon, saying that she won't forget what he was about to do to Alide, and they think that Alide is dead. Manon and Astrid are talking, and Manon asks Astrid what it's like to be in love. And Manon says that basically things are changing, and she alludes to less brutality and hate.
One of the most powerful sentences, too, is when I think Manon's asked Astrid if she ever saw the human lover again. And she goes, I went back once and I saw him and he was really old, but he was still like sitting on his porch, almost like he was waiting for someone.
Yeah.
And that broke my heart.
Yeah.
So I was like, Astrid, you deserve a happily ever after.
Well, she went back another time and it's said in that chapter that um she was like, "Yeah, I never found his body.
Hmm.
That he was just gone." She was like, "I think he just walked out in the woods and died in the middle of the woods."
Yeah. Yeah. But the last time that she saw him, he was like waiting for her. Oh.
Yeah.
Sarah J. Maas knows how to pull at our heartstrings, and
Hmm.
we'll find out just how much later. Chapter 88, Aelin tries to get into Elena's tomb, but no luck. It's all caved in, even though she's tried for 15 minutes to see if Mort, the magical door knocker, survived. She can't find it. The sewers are clear of Volg, and she finds that they fled after the king fell. Dorian and Kale are waiting for Aelin in her like living room in the castle when she returns. Aelin asks Kale to create an alliance with the royal family in the southern continent when he goes to visit, since they're going to need all the help they can get. Kale gives her back the Eye of Elena, which saved him from the old king's death blow. Aelin says it worked now because of, quote, courage of the heart. Because Kale has been wearing it this whole time, and Dorian's like, why did it work now? So, courage of the heart. The three then have a very special moment together as they look towards the future that they can create. Before they leave the next morning, Kale asks Aelin to show him her fire, saying it's beautiful when she does, and she leaves a rose of gold flame burning on his nightstand that will burn until she's gone. This is an important moment for Kale because this whole time he was scared of her powers. He was scared that she was going to do something evil with it and that she was so powerful. And now he's finally like, okay, can I please see it? And he calls it beautiful, which, again, some redemption for Kale. Then we get a moment with Dorian and Aelin. Dorian says the next time that they meet, the whole world will be different and he will miss her. He will miss his friend. Aelin, Rowan, and the others are heading to Terrasen, and as they pass the theater, they hear music, which is huge because the last time they were in the theater, it was dark because after the slave camps were basically all killed. And they don't hear any whipping in the squares, and they don't have anything bad happening in the city. There's finally peace, and this is huge.
Manon then flies back to the castle to see Dorian. And while he was sleeping, he like wakes up in the middle of the night. And
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
and
Dorian wakes up and he can't sleep because he has nightmares, of course, because of the Volg. And then he looks out his window on like his balcony and he sees this witch with silver hair just kind of watching him, and then she flies away.
yeah, and he waves at her.
Yeah. And he waves at her because he knows who she is.
Hmm.
And Manon, is just like, okay, he's fine. And then she leaves.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting moment because Manon doesn't care about anything,
Hmm.
let alone a princeling.
Yeah. But she saved his life.
She did.
And then we get to chapter 89. The queen and her court are riding north to Terrasen. She's carrying the word stone with her, and after weeks of travel, Aelin Ashriver Galathinius arrives home, and it smells of pine and snow, just like Rowan.
This was so sweet.
Yeah, end of book. I was like, oh man. That
It's
was
these little details that Sarah J. Maas puts in, and she put it in Air of Fire, a book before this, and then here she's like, oh, and it smells like Terrasen, and it smells like Rowan. It's just those
hmm.
little tiny details that makes me love Sarah J. Maas even more.
Yeah.
All
And
right,
so that's
Danielle,
it.
final
Okay.
thoughts.
Yeah. I just people are dying and I just fear that we're gonna see a lot more people die. Um, Final thoughts. I don't know, it was great. I
This
really
book
liked
was
it.
really good.
I like all the curveballs. I just, man, I don't know. I just if don't I can't even look at you right now when I say this because I don't want to know, but I swear if Rowan or Aelin die, I just I'm gonna be so sad. I just don't think it can happen, and I still can't look at you because I just don't want to know.
Can neither
But
confirm nor deny. My face is stone cold.
okay, good. Because they're great. I mean, I don't even want our cinnamon roll Dorian to die either, but I feel like he's safe. I feel like he's safe. Because
I feel
like
like
he's
Dorian's
already,
had his brush with death.
yeah. So I feel like Dorian's safe. So I don't know. But
Someone's got to die. Sarah J. Maas never leaves any stone
mhm.
unturned.
But I feel like this was like a good point where like we're at book 4 and it's like, okay, the king had to die. Like he
Yeah.
had to die now.
He's done
Like,
so many horrible things. Even if he turned out to be that he was being controlled, he wouldn't have wanted to live anyways. From
mhm.
how he treated his son to how he treated his kingdom, he would have wanted to die, same as
Well,
Keltane.
oh, I just mean like in the writing in general. I'm like, I feel like we couldn't have gone into another book and been like, why is this bastard still alive?
Yeah.
Um, so now I feel like things are definitely changing. This is like definitely like a crossroads, I'd say, for the series. So I'm excited to see where it goes next. And obviously it's still in Morath, but
Mhm. Yeah, so we end one villain and then we find out that we have another villain. We
mhm.
actually have two because we still have Maeve. We have to watch
Yes.
out for Maeve.
I'm also interested. I really wonder where the second ward stone is. So like the king was like we thought that he had two ward stones. So there was one. Aelin has two. Where's the last one?
Yeah, that's a good question because I can't remember,
Hmm.
honestly.
We'll
So
find it.
we will probably find it. But I do have to preface this next one. Some people are doing the tandem read with Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn. We probably will not be doing that because that is just too much. That's a lot. If you want to do the tandem read, go for it. But yeah, we'll do Empire of Storms, then Tower of Dawn, then Kingdom of Ash. But I will say this next book is amazing. It is also rough. It is a wild roller coaster, so I hope you guys are ready for it.
Is this the one that kind of like follows Chaos?
No,
No, that's the
no,
next one.
because I haven't read that one yet because I skipped it after Empire of Storms ending because I needed to know what happened next. I will admit, I literally just Wikipedia'd the whole plot of Tower of Dawn, so I was ready for Kingdom of Ash. I will admit that. I
Okay.
did not care about Kael's story, okay?
Okay.
So
Oh
I
wait,
will read it this time.
I saw, oh my gosh, I will say I saw which one's the last one? Kingdom of
Kingdom of
Ash.
Ash.
It's a 33-hour audiobook.
She thick. She thick.
Yeah.
Two
I was
season
like,
queue.
oh my gosh. Okay. So buckle up for that one, buckos.
Yeah. That one's gonna be a few episodes. We'll just say that. But
Mm.
Empire Storm, Tower of Dawn, I think they're similar length, but Kingdom of Ash is a big girl.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen next? We have our people in Terrasen finally, so I feel like we're gonna get to experience another world. But till then, to the readers who listen, we'll see you later.
Goodbye, everyone.